Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling something that's, well, it's a really personal and incredibly important decision: how to find a safe biblical counselor.
You know, the guide starts off by acknowledging something really important. Seeking help often comes from a place where you're feeling pretty vulnerable, and that makes the choice of who to trust, well, it's everything, isn't it?
All right, so let's dive right in. We're going to walk through a 5-part framework here. The whole idea is to help you go from feeling uncertain to feeling empowered in your search.
First things first, let's get our mindset right. Vetting a counselor isn't about being skeptical or suspicious. Think of it as wisely looking out for yourself, stewarding your own well-being. It's a necessary step.
So the key takeaway here is that doing this initial homework, this due diligence, it's absolutely foundational. It's kind of like preparing the soil before you plant anything. You just can't build true, lasting healing without it. Okay, so that leads us right into our next point. Before we even start talking about methods or techniques, it's crucial to understand the counselor's, well, their fundamental posture. It's about who they are, not just what they do.
So what should you be listening for? This is all about those internal qualities. Is there humility or is there pride? Is there real compassion or just, simplistic cookie-cutter answers? It's about seeing this work as a sacred responsibility, not just another service.
And here we have it. This is the core principle of safety. Invited discomfort, not imposed coercion. This is such a powerful idea. Look, growth is often uncomfortable, right? But the key is that you should be the one inviting that discomfort. It should never, ever be forced on you.
And this slide just breaks it down so clearly. On one side, you've got someone honoring your pace, asking permission. On the other, pressure, intimidation, rushing past your pain. One is about respecting your dignity and consent. The other is about control. It's a huge difference.
But, a humble posture isn't enough on its own. It has to be backed up by some real external guardrails. Good intentions are great, but ethics and accountability, they're not optional extras. They're the proof in the pudding.
And we're really talking about 2 layers of accountability here. There are the biblical ethics, things like wisdom and protecting the vulnerable, and then there are the professional ethics, confidentiality, boundaries, that kind of thing. A safe counselor doesn't see these as separate, they work together.
So the guide suggests there's one single question you can ask that really cuts to the chase. It's maybe the best way to gauge a counselor's humility and their commitment to safety.
And that question is, are you under supervision or part of a consultation group? It sounds simple, but think about it. An isolated counselor is a counselor with blind spots. This question really tests if they're willing to be held accountable by others.
And how they answer this is so telling. A green flag is a positive, transparent answer. They see it as a good thing. A red flag, any kind of defensiveness or dismissal. If they claim they don't need it, that's a problem.
All right, next up, preparation for this sacred work. Let's talk about qualifications. And listen, this isn't about being difficult or challenging them. It's just smart to make sure the person you're trusting is actually equipped for the job. A really well-prepared counselor is going to be able to integrate theology with solid, evidence-informed clinical practice. This is so key. You don't want someone slapping a spiritual band-aid on a deep psychological issue, right? But you also don't want someone who ignores the spiritual side of things altogether.
And please, you absolutely have the right to ask about their training, things like their education, any specialized training they have, especially for something like trauma-informed care. You need to make sure their experience lines up with what you need.
Okay, so let's pull all of this together into a practical toolkit. These are things you can use like in your very first phone call or meeting with a potential counselor.
Here's a quick screening checklist. Is consent respected? Is confidentiality clear? Are boundaries professional? Can they talk about their supervision? Does their training fit your needs? This isn't meant to be an interrogation. It's just a way for you to get the info you need to make a good decision.
Now, on the flip side, here are the green flags you're looking for. Do they welcome your questions? Do they have clear written policies? Do they speak with compassion? And really importantly, do they invite you to collaborate on your own goals? These are all great signs.
And then, the red flags. These are reasons for caution. If they dismiss supervision, use scripture like a weapon, or blur boundaries, that's a big deal. And notice that one in the middle, pressures you to share before you're ready. That goes right back to that idea of coercion versus consent. Seriously, trust your gut if something feels.
So, armed with this framework, the question is, how will you advocate for the care you deserve?
because that's what this is all about, empowerment. Vetting a counselor isn't some roadblock to getting help. It is the first brave step on the path to healing. It's you taking charge of your journey.